Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner with us today. Something unique about my guest. Well, he says it's not unique, but it does help him be successful in his business. Is that he's never satisfied with where the business is at. He's constantly looking for the next level to take his business to. In his downtime to recharge, he heads to the lake, and he is most proud of his kids, which is an awesome, an awesome shout out to them. And we'll learn a little bit about them here in a minute. It's my pleasure to welcome Rob to the show today. Hi, Rob.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Well, hey, I'm excited to hear your story today. Uh, let's start with having you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live and about your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Tim mentioned, my name is Rob Ellinger. I'm the owner of Ellinger Riggs Insurance. I was born in Germany, actually.
Great.
My dad was served active duty in the Army for 23 years. Lived in Germany for first couple years of my life, then moved to El Paso, Texas, then moved back to Germany, then moved to Maryland, and then Ohio, and then ended up in this great state of Indiana since moved here in 1997. I've got two older sisters, and my wife and I have been married for 26 years, and together we have three kids. My oldest son is her stepson, and then we have two daughters together, Lauren and Aubrey. So Trey, Lauren, and Aubrey. Um,
Fantastic. And
yeah,
what's your wife's name?
Aaron.
All right.
Shouldn't forget
Wonderful.
that.
So the idea of it never being satisfied and always wanting to get to the next level. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I think we as business owners, right? If we just kind of rest, complacency can creep in. Insurance, certainly in our business, we could talk more about that specifically, but I think in the insurance business, that certainly can happen. You can just get complacent because of the renewal aspect of the business. And that's just something my dad just instilled in us early on, right? That you just can't be complacent. And I
Yeah.
think that was probably the military aspect of his training, always be prepared, right? 23 years in the military, you always, every day you don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So you just got to be prepared. So.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, Rob, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share?
It's kind of funny when I was going through a couple of the questions you sent over, right? And one of them was this funny story. So we just had our Christmas party. We just had our Christmas party here at the office. It was also a day to reflect upon Sandy Riggs, who Sandy and I started the agency together.
Hmm.
She unfortunately passed away 3 years ago on December 7th. So we always have a day. We closed on Friday, and we had all our offices together. And someone asked my wife that question. So the question, yes, there is a funny story, and I think it's very relevant to business owners who are just going all out, right? And
Yeah.
especially if you add in the fact this was 2003. We started our agency in 2002. So 2003, our first daughter was born, Lauren. So I, of course, want to be an active dad. I'm all in on this process as
Yeah.
well, right? Even though starting an agency from scratch, you're burning the candles at both ends. So my wife wakes me up and says, "It's your turn to feed Lauren." And I'm like, all right. And I'm a deep sleeper. When I hit the bed, I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm ready to go to bed. So I wake up and I go out to the kitchen to warm up the bottle of milk. And I get to the kitchen and I forget what I was going to the kitchen for. This is true story, true story. And but I do remember that we bought cinnamon Pop Tarts. We hardly ever do them, but we bought the cinnamon Pop Tarts, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of hungry, so I popped a couple in. I popped a couple in the toaster and grabbed a glass of milk. And at 2:30 in the morning, the only thing that's on TV is ESPN, right? Sports. I turn on Sports Center, start sitting my lazy boy, start eating my Pop Tarts, dipping the milk. the Pop-Tart in the milk, and all of a sudden my wife comes around the corner and like, I can't repeat what she said exactly, but she was not happy. Like, what are you doing? You not? And I'm like, babe, I knew there was some reason why I was up. So Lauren was still in the room crying, hungry, and I completely said that is an embarrassing story, but true story.
Yeah.
And but I think, I mean, most of the listeners, right? If you're out there, you're
Yeah.
hustling, right, in a business, you're just you're burning the candle, and if you had a small kid in there as well, that happens. So
Well, I appreciate you sharing. That's awesome. I think that's one of the best we've heard so far.
yeah, it was quite embarrassing and funny. I mean, it was, but
So Rob, tell us how did the business come about and at what point did you have the confidence you could run your own business?
yeah, interesting. So I early on, companies I worked for always worked with an insurance agent,
Okay.
and thought, that seems like it would be a pretty good career. My father-in-law owned a bunch of restaurants. I met his good friend who was an insurance agent, and I remember going to his place in Florida. My wife is from Fort Lauderdale, and I remember going down to his house, Dave's house in Florida, and he had probably six different TVs on the wall, right? I'm like, this is, come on, right? What do you do? What do you do for a living, right? And he was a State Farm agent, so I started talking to him. But I worked for a company called, at the time, it was Spirit Rent-A-Car. Spirit Rent-A-Car, we were an insurance replacement, very similar to Enterprise.
Okay.
Certainly, Enterprise has gone on to be even a larger company. Spirit spun off and sold. But all we did was insurance replacement.
Okay.
So I worked with insurance agents and body shops and claim centers.
Mhm.
Ended up getting interested again in the insurance business, and started with American Family.
Okay.
Was at American Family for about a year and a half, went to an independent agent, and then opened my own. I just, I know it sounds a little bit cliche, but my parents instilled fear. You can't have fear and faith in the same heart.
Mm.
And so if someone was placing the inspiration in me, and the surrounding me with the quality people, then you got to go for it. You
Yeah.
can't have that fear of the failure. So
Yeah.
so that yeah. So I don't know if I will ever feel like I'm running it perfect or
Yeah.
have all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tools or
Yeah.
all the abilities, but I certainly like most entrepreneurs are, I don't want to say confidence, but not cocky, right?
Yeah.
Confidence in their ability to
Yeah.
do it, and willingness to take that risk in themselves.
Yeah.
Um, so.
That's cool. Yeah, I love it. So tell us more about the company. Say the name again. What do you guys do? How do you help people?
Yeah, so Ellinger Riggs Insurance. We started in 2002. We're an independent insurance agency. We have 11 locations around the state of Indiana. Sandy Riggs and I started it from scratch. So the first day we opened was a policy we wrote on myself, so my home and my auto, and then her parents at the time came on board. They overpaid, as we said, because they wanted to be with us. The hardest part is getting in carrier contracts,
Hmm.
right? Contracts with all the carriers. So over the last 20 some years, we've been able to grow our carrier lineup,
Mhm.
which means we can offer more opportunities to clients,
Okay.
shop their insurance.
Yeah.
There's basically three ways to buy insurance. You can buy direct from a carrier, 1-800, call the carrier. Not sure who's on the other end of the line that you're talking to, but and then a captive agent. So is a great way as well. State Farm is
Hmm.
obviously the largest captive agency out there, program, and then independent agents like us or brokers. Some state call us brokers.
Okay. Yeah.
We represent a wide variety of different carriers, all A plus, A rated carriers or higher. And yeah. So we write a lot of commercial insurance, a lot of personal insurance, farm, and we're getting into the crop insurance business as well. So
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. So, Rob, we know that success in business and successful businesses can get stuck at various stages of their growth journey. So tell us about has been your biggest challenge over the years and how'd you work through it?
Yeah, there's I'm sure Tim, right, the phrase work on the business versus work in it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's very, very, very important. So we went through different state and like sizes of agencies. When we were at this size, right, we had to figure a way to go what I say from 1 million of revenue to 2 million of revenue,
Yeah.
from two to three, now from 3 to 6 million. There's a huge learning curve in there, and
Yes.
org chart you got to figure out
Yeah.
and structure. So I was lucky early on to get into a networking group with individuals that business coaches and a variety of different business owners
Hmm.
early on that I could ask a lot of questions
Yeah.
and pick their brain and
Yeah.
consult with them. I don't think I was lucky that Sandy Riggs, so she ran the inside of the agency and
Mhm.
I handled the sales side of the agency.
Okay.
Um, so it was and she had coaches and mentors on the automation side. So
Uh-huh.
early on, we've been what you would call a paperless agency, for 20
Oh,
years.
wow. That's
We've been
awesome. Yeah.
scanning, we've been for a salesperson, that was hard.
Yeah,
I like
sure.
the full filing cabinets. I wanted to see how we need to buy another filing cabinet because we have more clients. He was like, no, no, no. So that was a little bit difficult because I wanted to visually see it, right? Most
Yeah.
salespeople want to visually see their
Yeah.
results. So, but, um, so yeah, it was a BNI. It was a networking group that
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was in for 17 years, and was blessed with a lot of other mentors, other business owners,
Yeah.
other business coaches, that I could run ideas across them
Yeah.
and bounce ideas across them,
Yeah.
if I needed help, right?
Yeah.
Because you could get stuck. Every one of us can get stuck working in the agency or in their
Yes.
business
Yes.
versus
Yeah.
working on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one area we've done a really, really good job at is hiring the right people. We always say we hire the right people. I'm not a great micromanager, but we do have a process and procedure, especially in the insurance world, right? Right? We
Yeah.
you have to follow. You have to client calls to do a policy change. You got to do a policy change, right?
Yes. Right.
And so we have guardrails we say in place, but if we're ended up micromanaging you, then it's probably not the right fit at our agency. So
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned the tiers of getting one to two to three, et cetera. It's interesting that there is a very big transition point, somewhere between one and two and beyond, where getting to that one-ish million is it takes a lot of hustle and grind, right? And figuring things out and connecting the dots and trial and error and right, and the owner typically is very, very heavily involved. And I think the stat is something like only 9% of businesses ever make it to a million, and less than 1% ever make it to five, because the getting beyond that, where the owner is involved in everything and right has their hands on everything, to a business that's actually scalable is significantly different, right? It's like you said, it's the processes and the team and right and the owner letting go and not being involved in everything. And that's a significant transition for a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs who birthed their baby and made it successful.
yeah, we've been lucky enough to we've grown through organic growth and acquisitions. So we've probably done over 20 acquisitions in the insurance space. So I tell people, where we're at in size, and exactly what you said, Tim, right? It's almost you have to set the corp company up where you could just, I don't want to say step away, but you have to make yourself in some ways not relevant, right? I have obviously
Yes.
some really key
Yes.
key accounts, key
Yes.
accounts that I'm relevant to them and they're relevant to me
Yeah.
for sure, right? But that's hard. That's
Yeah.
hard.
Yes.
When you In my office here, I have some pictures on the wall of our very first office. We were in the barn. We took over a barnyard feed store. We could put $300 a month in rent. Um, and it kind of just reminds me every day, like, just to remember where you came from
Yeah,
situation.
yeah,
And but you have to be able to trust the people you hire, hire the right people, get them the professional training or coaching.
yes, yeah,
You have to do that. So it's not, you're not, yeah, maybe day-to-day operations wise, sometimes you're not relevant, but that's
yeah.
that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's the
Well,
only
in
way.
fact, in fact, I mean, if you're not, then the business is going to stay stuck because, right, it can't grow beyond the owner's capacity if they are the reason it works, right? And God forbid if something happens to us and right, we're in the hospital for 3 or 6 months, right? We have to have the business be able to run without us, or our livelihood is ruined, right?
Yeah, no, and firsthand experience, right? My business partner, unfortunately, I lost her, right?
Yeah.
She battled cancer over the years, but no one thought, when she passed away that it was going to be her time. And thankfully, for her, right? She had the foresight to train,
Hmm.
internally the next employee.
Yeah,
That would have just been, it still is hard, right? But it would have been, even a bigger issue for
yeah,
us if
sure.
she didn't have the foresight to make sure we had, and not one person, not like there hasn't been one person that could
Sure.
replace Sandy at all. I
Sure.
mean, our
Yes.
relationship, besides my wife, was absolutely my best friend.
Yeah.
So I say it's like three people. I had
Yeah.
there's
Right.
three
Yeah.
people that are doing a little bit of her
Yep.
job now
Yep.
because,
Well, and that's very common, right? As a business owner, right? Generally, especially in the beginning, right? We're working, right? Way more than the 40, 45 hours a week, right? So yes, replacing us, it does often take more than one person or automation like you referred to earlier. And right, because nobody, we can't expect an employee to put in the type of hours and right that we do as an owner.
No, very true, Tim. And we bring in new producers to the business. We have a producer program that's very good, and I tell those producers because, and I think this is what early on, right, where I said the complacency, right? So sometimes we see it in our business for sure, like second generation and third generation, right, are just not, they don't see their parents in the early ages, right? And I know obviously I didn't invent this saying, I stole it from someone, which is, that's okay. But
Yes,
if
absolutely.
you want an income, you work 9 to 5. If you want a lifestyle, you work 5 to 9,
Yeah.
right? So you've got to, I see producers that if they're leaving early, right, or and not putting those extra hours in, well, you're just not going to have that,
Yeah.
maybe that lifestyle that you want, right? As
Yes.
far as income, there's more
Yes.
to a lifestyle than income. But if you want the income portion of a lifestyle, you just can't put in the 9 to 5
Yeah.
situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. We know that success doesn't happen in isolation, Rob. So I'd like you to pick three people in your journey that you're most grateful for them being there and helping with the business's growth. So who are those three people and how they help you?
Yeah, I think I've talked a little bit about both of them. Right, my wife for sure. Right, my wife. I was very very lucky that my story. I didn't expand upon, but I was a college dropout, had a kid early in life. My wife comes from a highly successful entrepreneur family. Both parents own different businesses,
Okay.
and as we say, sometimes we might have been on a different side of the tracks as far. But she saw something in me. Honestly, I think she fell in love with my son, who was 2.5, around 2 when she met him. So I think that Trey I owe a lot to because he won Aaron over before I did. So, but yeah, she's been along the journey the whole way, right? Thankfully, she and still does has a great career of her own, and it afforded us to pay that $300 a month rent when I wasn't
Yes.
making any money for
Yes.
years.
Yes.
Because in the insurance businesses, certainly you don't just we didn't have the carriers to write the larger
Yeah.
accounts, so we wrote a
Right.
lot of personal lines to begin with. And then Sandy Riggs, very similar, right? So she had a great job, was at a company, and she decided after 18 years she wanted to go own her own agency with me. So fantastic. Well, I was lucky enough that my father-in-law as well, right? He owned about 70 restaurants in his life that
Okay.
didn't judge me, right?
Yeah.
And just was willing to mentor and willing to give me some good advice. Um, and over the years, there's been other people, right? I was very, very blessed in the BNI chapter I was in, meeting a lot of a good quality business owners and then other coaches, in the insurance business, as different phases of our agency as we've grown. And honestly, I've been able to buy some of our mentors their agencies,
Oh, yeah.
which is pretty it's good, rewarding me. I mean, they trust us
Yeah.
enough that they're
Yeah.
gonna let us pass on their legacy to us,
Yeah.
and we fulfill their retirement,
Right.
wishes, and they know that they got paid and get paid, right? So
Yeah.
they worked hard for building an asset, and that we were their perpetuation plan. So that was kind of full circle, right? They helped me, and I can help them. So.
Yeah. Very cool. So success also has a lot to do with continuous learning. So what's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
Yeah, I say I'm an insurance nerd. If you guys could see my desk, I think I have three different insurance journals or magazines or just stuff that I'm reading. And about 2 years ago, I really wanted to focus more on that. So I do a book a month. Now I drive a lot. I'm a 30,000 miles a year person because I drive to offices. I think it's important to be at every office.
Mm,
Now, sometimes I don't get there as often as I'd like to, but
sure.
yeah, our agency, we still run it as a relationship business. They need to see me. I need to be present. I need to go to those different locations. Audible. I listen to
Okay, yeah.
Audible. I'll tell a quick little story if you don't mind about this. So my wife, my two daughters, one's a senior in college and one's a freshman in college. Both go to Hope College. They play soccer there.
Okay.
So the freshman deciding to go to Hope College in Holland, Michigan, and play made life a lot easier for Aaron and I that we weren't traveling a bunch of different places.
Sure. Yeah.
So I try to go back and forth from a self-help book to kind of like a documentary, a true story,
Okay. Yeah.
motivational book. So my wife and I are driving up to Minnesota. They had a game up there, long weekend, so we listened to a book, and I was like, "Hey, you want to pick the next book?" And she's like, "Sure, I'll pick the next book." So not promoting this book or not selling it, I'm not getting anything, but she picked the Let Them book. So a lot of people has probably heard Let Them theory or Let Them.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I'm listening to him like, did you pick this out because there's things on there that I need to just do better at or what? But I would just say to people out there, be careful what having your wife pick out a book sometimes for you because it might reflect on some areas of opportunities that you need to improve on.
That's awesome. Another part of success has to do with our mindset, and you just mentioned, motivation or inspiration. So, what guidance would you give to business owners who are feeling frustrated or discouraged in their business?
Yeah, I say I don't think there's a better feeling in the world than signing the front of your paycheck and the back of your paycheck. So, no matter what that amount is, right?
Yeah.
I've signed some pretty small ones, right? But yeah, you're gonna, as an employee, you're gonna be discouraged,
Mm.
right? I mean, you're gonna be discouraged. I think that's part of the process. If it was easy, like they say, everybody would do it,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
right? So, yeah, just go, talk to someone, right, about it. Talk through your frustrations. What are you working on? What are you frustrated? What's the roadblock? There's other people out there that are in the exact same position as you are, right?
Yes.
For sure. So,
Yeah.
find those people that you can open up to, discuss to, and work through it. But everyone's going to have those moments. You're going to have them. But as a business owner, right? For me anyway, I enjoy the roadblocks are like for me, it's an opportunity to get just to grow.
Mm.
And if I'm not hitting any roadblocks and it's all
Yeah.
easy, then
Yeah.
I'm not creating enough chaos, like I
Yes.
said
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I want to create chaos,
Yes.
manage chaos, I should say, manage chaos for the staff, right? I mean, and because that means we write over 100 new clients a month, right?
Yeah.
So I want to write on average 150 new clients a
Yeah,
month.
right.
Why, right? What's wrong with 100?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, one of the concepts we talk about in our program is it's called perturbation, but the idea is, nothing happens, nothing good happens, nothing grows in our comfort zone, and the only way to grow and evolve and have a better business is to step outside of our comfort zone. And typically when we're outside of our comfort zone, it's what you were mentioning, right? It's the chaos, it's the emotional uncomfortableness, it's the doubts of I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, right? So it's called perturbation, right? It's that uncomfortable emotional feeling, and the like you said, right? Knowing that that's part of the journey, right, allows us to embrace, okay, well then this is just part of me breaking through, right, and learning and growing and evolving in this new area or this new task. And so the more I can embrace that perturbation, the better I'm going to grow and evolve and become the next version of myself.
yeah, very true, very true. And everyone says, and I should say everyone, a lot of times you hear just stress is bad. But
Mm,
I think actually that there is good stress. There is good stress. And you know, there was a point in my life where, my dad lost his job for 10 months and my sisters, everyone had to go, get a job and
yeah,
work. And I started, delivering papers when you could deliver papers and I had a paper
yeah,
route and
yeah,
friends were certainly, out after school playing and I had to, fold 175 papers and
yeah,
deliver them
right.
homes. And then and I had to collect the money, right? Because I paid the paper company every week, but I had to collect
Sure.
the money from it. So you had to learn some stress as far as figuring out asking people for the money for their papers, right?
Yeah,
And paying that. So I think certainly too much stress can be bad on anyone, right? For sure, for sure.
yeah,
Um
yeah.
as my dad, unfortunately I lost my dad. He was 62, so I think he just had his heart condition and too much stress in life from,
Mm,
but good stress, or how you worded it a lot better than I did, Tim,
yeah.
but it is okay.
Yeah. Well, and to your point about good versus bad, the words we use can also be incredibly impactful, right? So calling something stressful versus calling something, positive pressure, right? Or
Yeah,
motivation, right? Again, whatever words we pick, right, is going to make a big difference in terms of our mindset and our mood and our thinking about a specific scenario or situation. Yeah.
yeah, very true.
So as you think about the next year, Rob, what's your biggest priority that you still need to sort out?
Yeah, we've got a great um so we have um can't name the agencies, but several are under letter of
Oh,
intent
oh yeah, yeah,
that are going to come on board. We have another a large agency here local that we're going to merge in with. So can expand a little bit. In 2001, I brought on a strategic partner because Sandy, for several reasons, but it helped establish Sandy's exit if
yeah,
and when that would happen. But with that partnership, we've expanded quite a bit.
yeah,
I've expanded obviously a lot prior to that, but our groups, here locally in Indiana should, like Ellinger Riggs should go from, 6 million in revenue to, almost 12 million in revenue.
Oh, fantastic.
So we have a lot of positive growth happening here
Yeah.
in this marketplace. So just managing those new cultures, those
Mm,
new
yeah,
acquisitions and new partners coming on board,
yeah,
how to manage their current existing culture into what we do.
yeah,
Doubling, almost doubling in staff size. So we have a lot earmarked in the works.
yeah.
So definitely a lot of org chart planning going on right now,
Yeah,
and making sure that I think there is something that we're very proud of. What we do is, owners that come on board with us to make sure that they're still they have so much value and intellectual knowledge from being in the business for years and years and years,
Right.
just making
Yeah.
sure that you're not just, they're not a Kentucky thoroughbred and we're just putting out out, right? We're making sure, right? They're just making sure that we're integrating them into the team.
Yeah.
And so that's a big focus for me next year. We have some niches in the commercial space that we want to over the years, the last couple of years, especially property insurance. I'm sure a lot of the business owners on this, or might be listening to this, have seen their auto insurance, commercial auto rates have gone up and commercial property rates have gone up. So just making sure we're establishing some captive programs, some risk retention groups, some specialty programs for
Okay.
those larger commercial accounts
Sure.
that just can just set us apart. We want to work on those programs a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that that you're thinking about what makes you unique and different and create some of that stickiness, right? So that you've got that retention because it's a whole lot easier, a whole lot cheaper to retain a customer than it is to get a new one, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we improve our retention rates in the mid 90s, but if we move it up to, 1 point,
Yeah,
that's like writing, 5% growth on the new business side. I mean, it's
right.
just, it's crazy. So yeah, so adding another line, employee benefits, we want to focus a little bit more on that this
Okay.
coming um, focus on some cross-sell opportunities for our current clients, right? Just for sure, just to we brought on a claims advocate, people
Yeah.
to help on the claims side.
Yeah.
Not that our carriers don't do a great job at claims, but it's also nice to have a person, and then we brought on recently a paralegal, which I would say a lot of agencies do not have a paralegal. So a lot of our contractors are signing agreements that they don't really know what they're
Sure.
always right. They send us over the insurance section, but what about the rest of it, right? Just kind
Yeah.
of some verbiage in there so we can offer that to some of our clients.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so they can review it for them and just point out like kind of red line like, hey, just making sure you understand what you're signing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a great benefit. And I like the idea that, multiple offerings so that it's more of a one-stop shop, all right? Of you build the know, like, and trust, and then now you provide different services that your clients don't need to go somewhere else for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
awesome. Last question, Rob. Jim Rohn, one of his famous quotes is, "We become the average of the five people we spend the most time with." So as you think about that, what advice would you have for business owners who maybe they're feeling stuck and they're just simply trying to figure it out on their own?
Yeah. My attorney, who's a good friend of mine and has been with me for a long time, always said that, and again, I think he probably stole this. You never want to be the smartest person in the room, right? If you are, move to a different room.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to surround yourself with people that, I mean, you can trust, right? You want to be around people that, but always trying to elevate. If you want to get to the next level, right? Trying to put yourself in that room and ask a couple key questions, but a lot of times just listen,
Yeah.
right? Listen to their conversation or what's working well. So, in our business, there is um, just it seems like a good culture of wanting to help people.
Mm,
And if you ask the right questions or, you just be truthful. Like, I'm asking this. I don't want to steal your client. I'm not
yeah.
asking you about
Yeah.
a client, but how did you build your agency? How did
Sure.
you grow agency? In our business, there's people that want to share that information. And I want to do that as well, right? I want to be that, um, my my daughter's boyfriend just interviewed me for Indiana Wesleyan
Uh-huh.
University for their program there, and I got a text message yesterday that they got a 99% on that. So that
Nice.
was pretty fun. It was an ethics class, so most people don't realize like and insurance agents we have to take so many CE classes every
Mm,
2 years, and ethics is a big part of it, right? And it
sure.
was whole ethics. So it was interesting, but giving back is good, or great, I should say. And but as business owners, don't get wrapped up in like, hey, I'm I can't be too proud to ask for help or
Yeah.
ask questions.
Yeah.
I don't think that's, my dad humbled me early in life and all. So I'm not too proud to ask for help.
Sounds like, Rob, you've been blessed with some incredible people in your journey. If they were all here today, what would you want to say to them?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I have enough, or can't say it the proper way. But as I mentioned early on, my dad was raised in an orphan, and he was an orphan, never adopted.
Hmm.
Lost him way too early in life when he was only 62. So would give a lot to just tell him thank you for installing
Yeah.
um core values in me, and then obviously my wife as well, right? My mom and my wife have been my biggest cheerleader. Even to this day, my mom thinks I'm probably the best soccer player she's ever watched. So which is quite funny because I was average, but yeah, no. We don't get here alone by any means, right? I mean, certainly we're making some decisions, right, that on our own, and at the end of the day, we're accountable for those. But showing gratitude, showing grace, go a long way. So definitely would thank them for sure, and appreciate the tough love my dad gave me for sure.
Rob, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.